Hey guys, it's Miharu. I already know I'm gonna get a ton of hate for saying this, but here goes nothing. I don't like Sly 2. To the point where it's actually my least favorite game in the series. Yes, I prefer Thieves in Time over Band of Thieves. I realize this is an incredibly baffling statement, and I can see the comments now. Wow, what a bad take, lol. Imagine liking Sly 4 over 2, LMAO. But let me stop you there. While I may have a very low opinion of this game, I will not deny its popularity. It is universally the most well-loved, and for good reason. Gameplay-wise, it had improvements, it felt more polished in a lot of areas, and the core mechanics of it would become the norm and what most people are familiar with. And of all the PlayStation mascot games I hate, like Jak 2 or Ratchet Deadlocked, I dislike this one the least. So before I get into the things I don't like, let me first list some positives. One thing they always get right is the voice acting and dialogue. I'd be lying if I said there weren't some really funny and memorable lines. I like almost every member of the Claw Gang, with Dimitri being my favorite villain of the series, until he joined the Cooper Gang, but still remains a favorite nonetheless. But Brajan, Arpeggio, the Contessa, all interesting in their own right. Some of the missions were really fun. I particularly remember the ballroom dancing, though I preferred the stuff leading up to it. And my personal favorites, the recon missions. I like being able to take photos with the Binocucom. The health system was better. Even I didn't like the horseshoe thing. And of course, the abilities were a lot more fun to use. Now for everything else. Starting with the difference in gameplay style, it just didn't appeal to me at first. The reason I favor Sly 1 is because of its Spyro-style linearity with hub worlds, sublevels, and overall collectathon vibe. Sly 2 introduced mission-based gameplay around larger overworlds, giving the feeling of pulling off an actual heist. I understand that was the whole point. I mean, why wouldn't a game about thieves have that style of play? I eventually got used to it in this case, but I don't adapt well to change sometimes, so I was thrown off. Same with those other games I mentioned earlier. I also just didn't enjoy playing as Bentley or Murray. The former I actually prefer in a wheelchair, and controlling the latter is akin to the Chunky Kong sections from DK64. Next, while I like the Claw Gang members individually, I didn't like them as an organization. They felt weak in comparison to the Fiendish Five. We go from the group who murdered Sly's family to illegal spice traders. Kind of a downgrade in terms of threat. And yes, I know the spice operation was just a cover-up to distract from Arpeggio's true goal of achieving immortality by means of the clockwork parts. And you can argue that they at least interacted with each other and had a master plan. But when a majority of the group is unaware of said plan, it doesn't really count for much. I never felt a connection between them. The Fiendish Five may have been those people who don't speak outside of work, but I kinda loved how they talked each other up after each battle. Something about that was endearing to me. It at least gave the illusion of a dynamic. Even if we only knew them separately, as a team they felt like a force to be reckoned with, which is something I didn't get from the Claw Gang. Going off of that, I thought the story should have revolved more around villains who wanted to resurrect Clockwork himself, instead of just using his parts for their own personal gain. Clockwork was built up to be the ultimate big bad, the one true enemy of the Cooper clan, and this game treats him so poorly by not only reducing him to scrap, but also literally crushing the only chance he ever had of returning to the series without the use of time travel. In Sly's own words, not mine, the curse was lifted. And hey, I'm no stranger to having my favorite villains destroyed, but did Clockwork get a proper send-off? No. Instead, both his grand revival and death were given to a nobody who was merely using his body as a vessel. I am of course speaking of Constable Neyla. Good God, do I hate her. I've seen people praise her for being a well-written twist villain, but how was she well-written? It's not like she was a pre-established character we came to know from the previous game, like a certain Penelope. Yeah, you heard right, Penelope's betrayal may have been dumb and out of nowhere, but I can appreciate the fact that it was actually a twist. Neyla, on the other hand, only helps you, though playing her stupid keep-up game I can hardly call helping, through a few missions and then, surprise, stabs both the Cooper Gang and Carmelita in the back not even halfway through the game. Oh, but that's not all. She double-crosses and kills Arpeggio, who barely got to do anything, and becomes Clockla, and just what is this? I mean, what reason was I given to even care about her actions? Did it really seem like they were building her up to be anything other than a traitor? Because all I saw was her seducing Sly with her smooth talking, and him making a complete fool of himself by falling for it. I feel like her whole reason for existing was to overshadow Carmelita, which they succeeded in by making our favorite fox an absolute idiot. Think about it, even in their very first scene, before we even knew where the plot was gonna go, why is it Neyla seems to know everything right off the bat, while Carmelita doesn't give it a second thought? I get that she's always on Sly's tail, but she's not stupid. Now hold on, before anyone says it, yes, I know there was a whole conversation in the first game about how blind she is to the truth, but after being captured by Clockwork and rescued, she admits she was wrong. It's not much, but it's still character development, and Sly 2 ignores that by having her go right back to her old ways. I'm starting to wonder if they gave her an American accent to make her sound dumber, in contrast with Neyla's sophisticated English accent. And lastly, a few more nitpicks. I already mentioned Carmelita's voice, but there are other things, such as the clue bottles feeling like a chore to collect. I just don't care enough to search every nook and cranny of these areas for items that are basically pointless now that ThiefNet is a thing. Also, everyone criticizes the puppet lip flapping in the first game, but I'll take that over awkward chewing motions any day. To be honest, I can't exactly pinpoint the moment I realized I didn't like this game. As a kid, I remember finding it tedious, and as an adult, there's all of the above. Do I understand why it was so well received? Sure, but coming off the heels of something I felt was really solid, it left me disappointed and bitter. Basically, this is all just coming from someone who's salty that the story didn't live up to its full potential. I can only hope that Sly 5, should it ever get made, will give us something we can all enjoy. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. Leave your thoughts about Sly 2 in the comments below. Special thanks to Hysteric Animations for editing this video, and don't forget to check out his new album, Just Experimenting, available now wherever you get your music. As always, don't forget to subscribe and follow me on all my social medias, and I will see you next time. Until then, this is Miharu, signing off.